think the best way to learn iOS is by cloning apps. I did a lot of that. I even cloned the Instagram app. I did not invent the swipe. I merely copied it. Hi, my name is Mari. I'm an iOS software engineer at Meta. I am in the FB Web3 monetization team, where I help creators and influencers make a living off of the Facebook platform. There's a lot of different ways to build iOS UI at Meta. A lot of in-house frameworks that the team has built that is not actually possible at most companies. And that just goes to show because of how much Meta has to scale. Aside from building native iOS UI, it's also possible to build UI that on iOS using other frameworks like React Native or server-driven frameworks that Meta has built in-house. For the big blue Facebook app, there's a lot of things we do differently, mainly because of how much Facebook has to scale. And so React Native is one of those solutions that we use, mainly because it not only works for iOS, but it also works for Android as well. Building iOS in Meta is very different depending on the product that you're working on. Most people think of the big blue Facebook app, but we actually have other products, obviously like Instagram and WhatsApp and a bunch of other smaller projects. And so building iOS UI across those products really depends on what product you are building for, because the patterns that you will use and frameworks that you will use will largely differ between those products. The most common problems when building UI in iOS is managing complexity. It's very straightforward to build a simple app that has a limited set of features, but the real problem comes when your team gets bigger, the company gets larger, and they need to add more features to the app. As an engineer, how you manage the added complexity, especially in terms of the product complexity, but also the number of engineers working on the code base, is really a tough problem to solve. I would say if you're an aspiring software engineer, most of the apps out there still use UIKit. I know that people usually gravitate to the newest, latest and greatest technologies like Swift UI. However, in terms of adoption, most companies are still using traditional UIKit. So if you're an aspiring software engineer, you want to optimize for what is actually being used most in the industry. So I would say to prioritize learning UIKit very well. And if you have time to learn newer technologies like Swift UI. There's React Native, there's Flutter, there's traditional UIKit, there's Swift UI, but the fundamentals don't really change. Most of those frameworks essentially compile down to traditional UIKit building blocks. So the more you know about UIKit, the better off you will be, because those are the fundamentals. And you should spend a lot of time in fundamentals because you can always learn a different framework in the future. It's very easy to learn a different framework, but as long as you have a good grasp on the fundamentals, you'll just learn things faster.